Hey family! Just making sure we're recording there. I think we are. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. I haven't really been online as much over this Christmas period, and I've just been taking time out to give to myself, to receive, and to just find my flow within this new energy. And on the day before Christmas Eve, I dropped my iPad in a puddle, and that's kind of slowed my communication down with people in a sense, and all of my messages and downloads were on there, which means I no longer have access, which has been a strange adjustment because in essence I'm very much connected to the information that I receive, and I almost use that as my navigation network for how I'm moving in this reality. And it was almost like a complete reset back to 0 point, where we're in this new slate and our kind of this blank sheet where we're able to create anew from. And I've been receiving a lot of information over the past week, and I've been trying to kind of find new creative ways to allow that to flow through. And what I've kind of been doing is just creating notes all over the place. And the guidance that I'd received when I started pulling through the information was that I was to not break down the information anymore, and that I wasn't to try and translate and I wasn't to try and translate and manipulate, or not manipulate, but I wasn't to decode it in the same way. I was to just receive and relate, and it was my responsibility to figure out when was the right time to share certain aspects of that. So within that, I was kind of thinking of writing some collective energy updates, but the information that I've been receiving is a lot more in depth, and it's just a bit different. And I felt like if I was to sit and write everything out to a message, we'd probably have 3+ part updates, and that's a lot for people to read. So I think I've kind of figured out that I can pull up the information on the screen, and I'm gonna read some things to you. So it's a bit different, but I mean, I could just channel on the spot, of course, but the information comes through when it wants to come through, and I'm not always in the best energetic place to be jumping on a live and just sprouting the information that's coming through. I need a little bit of adjustment time to process and integrate what it is that I'm receiving and saying in the first place before I share that out to you. And I apologize for the lighting here, guys. It's not the best, and the sun is going down. We're at sunset here in Ireland. It's coming on, don't even know. Speaking of time, I'll be addressing aspects of that within these messages, and I can quite honestly say that we are in the now, and we have been transitioning into this state most of this year, and receiving downloads of the occurrences of being in the now and what that means in terms of time. And yesterday we started noticing some major shifts, and as we were in flow and in connection, time just warped and started jumping like crazy. The first aspect, I looked at the clock because my eyes were drawn there, and it was passing 11:11 and just kept spinning. And I was confused because I knew that it had already been 11 o'clock. And that was the human mind, you see, because from a higher perspective, I already know what's to come, and I already have received the information of what is happening. But that was an adjustment, because it started playing, and I didn't think much into it, and I was just kind of, wow. And as I looked back, I realised that it stopped, but it was about 17 minutes out of sync. So I'd basically time jumped, and there was a distortion, because within the now there is no concept of time. Everything is interchangeable at any given moment, and we can move forwards now, backwards now, and I'll go into that in a little bit once I get to that point within the channel. And as I started talking about it, it started moving again. So it started spinning round and round and round. So I just kind of didn't pay much attention to it and just let it do its thing, and finding the amusement within observing these timeline shifts and time jumps in a physical conscious way. So I was telling someone else about it a bit later, and I was saying, and this is the time and this is the difference, and I looked at the clock and it was back to normal. And as I went to type, oh, it's back to normal, it started spinning again. And about 4 times the clock has stopped on 11 o'clock. And I was about to record a video, and I was just kind of talking about these aspects out loud to kind of get myself in a flow of what it was that I was wanting to really discuss. And the time was working fine before I came in the bedroom, and as I walked back out, it was back at 11 o'clock, just bang on 11. So I don't know what it's doing now, but I'm sure it's doing all kinds of weird things. So as we know, not only is the magnetic field of Earth changing and we're shifting into now state, everything is going a bit wonky. So if you start noticing these changes, know that you're not going crazy. It's happening. And the time is now. So, okay, it's been like 8 minutes of me rambling. I apologize. So I'm just gonna bang into the notes. I'm gonna try and pull up this here. Okay. So they're kind of in depth, different aspects of it. So I'm just going to start from the beginning and work my way through, and if I feel like I should explore something a bit more, then I'll do so, okay? So, thank you for bearing with me. I love you. Okay. This is new to me, so just gonna get comfy. The field of freedom, the quantum reality. Big changes. We made it. Welcome to the unknown. Reset. Saturn conjunct Jupiter and Pluto, 1st of the 12th, 2020, at 22 degrees. Major transformation. Mercury conjunct Jupiter. This is going to bring forward optimism and a feeling that it's time to play. Following with the eclipse. On May 15th, 2019, marked the day that Uranus and Taurus entered its cycle, continuing through into 2026. The planets go direct on January 11th. Uranus is the ruler of societal freedom, starting a 7-year cycle of original thinking, outwardly free expression, love, beauty, pleasure, purposeful power, and determination. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love. 23rd to the 31st of December was an integration process, and the 31st of December to the 11th of January is entering us into 11-day Stargate portal to face the starting point of the 2020 eclipses, which are highly significant in themselves. Father, Sun, Mother, Sky, united as one 7 times in a 12-month cycle. New Moon, manifestation portals, wishes, destiny, dreams, and desires coming true. Preparing frequency in the integral system, 31st to the 11th in motion. A mass collective clearing of A mass collective clearing of karmic history and programming that may have taken place over the past 6 months, bringing a closure to cycles, bringing in justice. This is a highly emotional energy that will be moving through the collective, moving us into a balanced state of being. People may ask how to clear these energetic timelines. Well, responsibility, acceptance, and forgiveness. These planetary placements are showing us an end and a final transition within the suppression of masculine energy, as well as karmic justice regarding immoral tyranny, self-sabotage, destructive patterns, held for sentencing and held accountable, a time for reaping what has been sown. This will also be a time of clear communication, allowing you to have a broader outlook on life, as it already is. This will be a time for connecting and interacting with others. This will be a time where people will begin to transition, to really begin to honour their truth, living in truth, with unwavering faith, and coming to a place of freedom without shame, guilt, and fear. Mercury conjunct with Jupiter brings forth a way of positivity in itself, bringing in good news, a healthy, optimistic way of thinking, feeling bliss, joy, and happiness. This will be a good time to start new creative projects, to expand yourself and your knowledge further. Over the past week, we've begun a recalibration within the physical system, and many felt these strong energetics being present over the holidays. A very thick energy that was here to get us in full alignment on a mental, emotional, and physical state. This energy seems to have had a direct effect on lungs, stomach, cellular, and spinal cords as our cells are regenerating. This impacted the emotional mind state, almost like a subconscious clearing. These patterns have to be brought to the surface, and this was a confusing, uncertain time, but allowing us to truly trust the unseen and to trust the divine as we allow ourselves to rest. Major upgrades within the physical vessel. Repeat myself there. Kind of glitched there a little bit, it's okay. You may have been feeling overly tired this week, exhausted with little energy, foggy eyesight, feeling lethargic or experiencing physical pain, having breathing issues as a clearing of mucus within the lungs, as well as having stomach issues, headaches, dizziness, increase or decrease of appetite. You may be noticing having a highly sensitive crown chakra. The downloads are coming fast at the moment, and we have to balance the art of receiving, but also giving to self. And this is meaning allowing yourself to be a clear conduit, but also knowing when to shut it down, and not become drained and tired. Self-mastery. We're guided to share that you may have to cover your head during strong energetic influxes, and this will help you to ground and shield yourself from overstimulation. Know that this energy has now shifted, and you'll be moving out of this deep phase, almost like a collective hermit mode. It was a time to shut down and shut off and get in tune with who you truly are, without distractions. It's probably the thickest energy that we've had to move through, but we did it, and we did it together. Yeah, we did. Here we go. We are showing work being done within the spinal cord, working on the cording system for the physical vessel. These codes are strongly attached to the spinal cord, sending waves of information into the nervous system tissue, as well as sending signals to the core brain function, affecting memory, physical mobility, Part of the memory is stored within the physical imprint. This is linked to a rewiring of the vessel itself. As this energy disconnects and reconnects new DNA stranding and templating, released blueprints into expressed energy. As templates of fear, suppression, abandonment, guilt, shame are released by expression in a balanced manner, a release in physical tension that may have been previously holding, and allowing the energy to move more freely. These tissues are sending pain signals to each receptor within your vessel. This is your body's way of speaking to you, explaining what is happening and where it's happening and what part of life experience you're either suppressing or expressing. And this can stimulate subconscious memories, allowing breathing space for mental and physical expressions, awaiting acknowledgement, the message to be received and released. Many people who have experienced trauma, whether in this life or parallel lives, past lives, or people going through Kundalini awakenings, or are just hypersensitive to energy fluctuations, density shifts, and physical upgrades, will be feeling these expressions strongly. And you may find that as you learn to alchemize the energy of your own, you can become a transmutation vessel, meaning you feel the pain of others and you can take on the pain because you're built to handle it. And you see, some may perceive this to be a weakness, to take the weight of others onto your own being. But you see, everyone makes choices and sacrifices for the greater good. And sometimes we have to take the high road, and that doesn't mean that there's challenges one must endure. And we should never wish from another upon self. You don't know what they had to face to be of reception to that in that chosen path in the first place. We have received the following information: linked connections or in alliance with collective Orion groups, or in alliance with Orion collective groups. Certain individuals have been assisted and guided under sacred jurisdiction during a mass collective clearing. Aspects of this have come into earthly expression, and through understanding and responsibility, aspects can be shared but within cosmic alliance, compliance, and acceptance. Bodies of energy and physical vessels are used as transmutation centers within the 0-point field to transpond, deflect, disassemble distortions within collective consciousness itself. As cellular celestial memory came online, these energies also have to be transmuted physically. This manifests emotions within power centers, the heart, solar, and back, and these areas of emotional memory are cleared as the memory becomes online. Within the now, all timelines are transcended. Why is this necessary, some may ask? Well, there's many aspects to that one question, and you see, part responsibility means knowing what to remember, what to share, and what to speak of, and what to know of. All creates within expression, all in reality from what was. Quantumly, we can understand everything just is, so it's okay, even when it's not okay, because it's interchangeable at any given moment. To answer that, we don't want to make the same mistakes again. And I got confused with that, so I said, but if everything is possible and everything has cause and effect, why is it a mistake? Surely it holds purpose somewhere. Yes, if something is nowhere, then it is also somewhere and everywhere. Interesting counterplay. Back to the questions. Why are we recalibrating? To align with the new energy coming in. You're special, and these people that you know, they're special. Really, and protective doesn't cut it. Untouchable, pure of source. 23rd to 31st, integration. Oh, I think I've already said that, but again, I'm all over the place. Okay. What do we mean by manifestation portal? We mean the ability to vibrationally align to all of that of which is destined for you, will be created to be so. I might run out of battery here, oh no. Okay, So there was a few in this piece here, and I'm not actually going to share those with you in this moment because I don't feel like I should. I feel like that's for another time. Okay. Okay, so they were basically talking to me about merging with soul presence and merging with higher consciousness. So I'm just going to explain a little bit. Well, I'm going to share a little bit of that, but I'm not going to go into the full extent. I feel like I'll make another video for that because we'll be there for ages. I'm about to die. Anything else is a form of programming. You see, every soul is born through soul, and imagine soul as light body. You're infinite eternal light being. Your brain, you're an infinite eternal light being. But your brain, your heart, and your body is your human. And using the human merged into vehicle of light, light in human form can illuminate any shadows in play. We can dance with shadows and we can learn many things, but the shadow will always have you chasing and chasing, and you never really get there, maybe a little dizzy and tired. Instead, focus your energy on flying forward and taking the leap into the not knowing, into wonder, allowing yourself to be carried like the wind, not just like a leaf in a stream of creation, but realizing you are the wind, the leaf, and the creation, and you're continuously where you're supposed to be at any given moment. How do we connect? How do we see? Simple. Believe. Stimulate your senses, stimulate your joy, and stimulate your creativity. Hearts, just hearts, love. This reminded me of what my niece said to me, and she said the same thing. And I said, the meaning of life, hearts, love, just love. And they said, open your center and look within your heart. Most people don't want to look in there. It hurts and it's messy sometimes. But this is your gateway, your masterpiece to alchemy, alchemizing your lessons, your pain, into power. Raw, true, pure power of innocence, true, authentic passion, excitement, and joy. And then I asked higher self a question. I said, higher self, if everything means nothing, that means that it doesn't really matter what I think or believe? Question mark? Answer. Well, quite contrary, you see. Never underestimate small ripples create big waves. Sources showing me dominoes. A lonely stand with not much force, but when they work in alignment and in flow of each other, they create a force of energy and motion that's unstoppable once it begins to flow. It has to continue to stay on its course, and you see, dominoes and people are similar. Just like the dominoes, the more you have, the more intricate the network, but it will continue to flow and spread. And they both bring small packets of energy that's created and stimulated, whether that be from enjoyment of building, or watching the patterns, or watching the motion spread faster and further, depending how many dominoes you laid out this time. But you could always expand, create so many masterpieces. Everyone wants and seeks joy. It's one of the main human core needs and experiences of life here, is to seek pleasure, things that bring them joy, things that create happiness, but in doing so from a pure place of no limitation. How big would you go if you knew you had unlimited dominoes? You'd maybe try a little harder to create wonder. You'd maybe change direction, take risks, trials and turns along the way. But it's the journey, it's the taking part as one, not just being the creator, but being the piece of domino in the process. We do this together, and you might be a big domino piece or a small one, but you have the same effect. Just as you are, you still hold the network of magic together. Creating ripples no matter how small you think it is. Kindness, truth and acceptance and love goes a long way, and one act of compassion sparks that of which in another. Be the wave, be the change, it starts within. Fuel your love tank, stock up on those dominoes, and start laying them. Watch how they move, listen to how they sound, clicking together. Listen carefully to the stillness they hold once they have came together, as one, in peace, in silence, still, nothing but yet all. We understand this transition has been tough for groups within the collective, and we are doing the final clearings, transportations before we reach the end of this year. In dream state and lucid dreaming, I'm being shown train stations used as a jump point within Astral. The station was pretty packed and a lot of people were ready to take the leap. Within the dream, things were moving pretty quickly and redirecting people to where they need to go. And there was a sense of urgency to get people to the training centre. And once they were there, everyone expressed themselves in an orderly fashion. Everyone knew where they had to be. And the first part was a review of their life, their choices and experiences, and beings were given the choice to rewrite their story. And you see, a story is just a story, it isn't truth. The truth is, your contract is blank right now. And this time we get to write it from the heart. We write it from truth. And now there might be some truth in a story, but the story is the mind and the truth is the heart. All that once was doesn't exist within the now. There's no story, just a state of being. And some weren't ready to accept that. There's comfort in telling your story, but it's scary to sometimes create new. But this is what New Earth is about. We didn't come here to play a part in a story. We came here to speak and create within truth, in true transparency. Divine creational being. What if I told you that while you were sleeping, you were moving through Earth in a light body, shifting timelines and jumping dimensional realms? Okay, now imagine working from your unconscious, subconscious memory. You're clearing your self-programs, learning and receiving information. When this shifts consciously, and those attached to collective timelines, you are shifting from consciousness in itself. But when you jump, so does all connected to you. The butterfly effect. We are the butterfly effect. And within that comes great responsibility of what we know and what we speak of and what we do here. Because everything has a reaction. And the choices that we make, whether we go forwards, backwards, or stand damn still in the now, it all has an effect and a counterplay energy. So, play wisely. I love you. I'm gonna pause it now because I don't want to lose this video. Take care, family. I hope this made some sense to you, and I'll speak to you all soon, okay? I love you. Bye. Be happy, be well. Be love, be light. Love, love, love. Wee, wee, wee. Bye-bye now.